Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Tony Todd, aka Candyman, My Living Dead, Final Destination. You're listening to the Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast, episode number 238. Tonight we're talking about Jordan Peele's Nope, which is currently in theaters. I'm one of your co-hosts, Todd. We have Steve. Joe is absent tonight. He's working late all week and next week. Bummer. We do have some interviews. Steve?
Yeah, that's right. So Joe actually did these interviews while it was out with COVID. So he interviewed the director and two stars from the movie Slapface, which you can find over on VOD and Shudder. I'm going to talk about the my review of Slapface during our What Watch segment, but the interview is with the director and writer Jeremiah Kip and the two stars August Maturo and Mike Manning. So just check it out after the end of the episode. You can see that interview. It was really good.
Cool. You sound better, and you guys had a successful movie club this past Friday?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, a lot of people showed up. It was a lot of fun. We had reviewed Vampires versus the Bronx, which, if you haven't watched, is over on Netflix and is actually a pretty decent movie. We were all around like the 7 out of 10 range as a score, so I think that's pretty good for a movie like that. It reminds us a lot of The Lost Boys and Fright Night. It's actually a well-made movie, and I'm glad that we watched it. Our next movie club is at the end of the month, and right now we're taking like submissions for a comedy horror, and we're probably going to vote over the course of the week, and at the end of the month we'll review whatever wins that vote. So yeah, should be exciting.
Very cool. And another club, book club is officially back on. We're going to review Pet Sematary, Stephen King's Pet Sematary. At the end of the month, we'll get the details together when we're going to do a live hangout similar to Movie Club. But yeah, Pet Sematary, if you're into reading or audiobooks, hop on the Discord, join our group, and we will give you the link so we can all hang out and talk about it. Because I've personally never read it before, and I've heard good things about it. So I'm pumped. Of course, I've seen the original and the remake movies. I don't think I've seen the sequel, to be honest with you, but maybe in the future. And we were joined by Steve's cat.
Yeah, which I don't know if you saw it on Discord, but we got him a fucking line cut, so he's like bald with like
Oh my
furry
god,
legs,
so
and
ridiculous.
his back is just like a
Oh my gosh,
up
dude.
on it. Yeah, it's not what we expected, but he looks a little
What did
ridiculous.
you expect?
I don't know, like I didn't know what to expect. I thought he'd be a little, I guess, furrier, but no, he's
They
like,
shaved the shit out of him, dude.
yeah, but they kept his face the same, so he looks like a bobblehead when he's
That's so funny.
yeah.
That reminds me, I actually went to like a Tiger King like tiger rescue before all the animal lovers get all up in arms. It's a rescue, so they get these cats from like people that like drug dealers and keeping them in cages. They have their stories outside their cages, and they're really well taken care of. Waterfalls and all the enclosures, things like that. Anyway, a male lion he growled at me, so that was pretty cool. So I walked away. So I've been growled at by a male lion, which is awesome. And went to the pool this weekend. Super hot still in Texas, which sucks. Everyone keeps telling me it's not normal, but I think they're all lying to me because they want my tax money. But yeah.
Yeah, actually, I just came out of Nope like an hour ago, and they showed a trailer for Beast. I don't know if you saw that trailer
I
too.
did, yeah, the lion one.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Like we don't see a lion, creature features, so I'm kind of pumped about it.
What was that one? I think Val Kilmer. Was it Val Kilmer? I don't know. They were hunting like lions were like terrorizing like a railroad project, and they brought in like a hunter, Ghost in the Abyss or something.
Haven't seen that one.
Maybe from the '90s. I'll have to look it up when you're talking. But
Yeah,
and then there's one called Prey, I think, a couple years back. But this one looks pretty cool. I like the actors.
yeah, it does. Yeah, I actually had great trailers for this. There was also an exorcism film, which I didn't catch the name, but
Pray for the Devil.
that's right. Yeah, it looks
Yep.
amazing. Like,
Yeah, it
yeah,
looks freaking cool.
I can't wait to see that. That's around Halloween, so it's
Did you
I,
see the one for Smile?
yeah, yeah, I've seen that one, and actually, yeah, trailer's been out for a few movies right now,
Has
so
it?
I've probably seen 3 or 4 movies in the last few months, so looks good too. I mean, thankfully, because this year has not been the greatest, so I'm looking forward to having a better back half and front half of the year. We'll see.
Yeah, then I finally saw the Halloween trailer, and you guys are right. It doesn't give anything away besides Laurie and Michael fighting, which we already knew was going to happen anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 So
My wife freaked out. She's like, "Oh no, I don't want to see it." I'm like, "No, don't worry about it. There's really nothing here." Did you watch the Spirit Halloween trailer?
I did.
What do you think?
I think it looks like it'd be fun. I think it really looks a lot like Goosebumps, and I think that's a really cool premise to be stuck inside a Spirit Halloween store. Because I think we all think about that when we go into them. So
Yeah,
I'm
I agree.
interested.
I
Yeah,
agree. It looks like a fun, it's like a good intro to horror for kids. I
for
could
sure.
see kids really liking this, and I'm pumped. I like Spirit Halloween, so I think it'll be a fun, just little film. Hopefully, it's turns out to actually be good, but I guess we'll see this Halloween. I don't know. I didn't catch where it was. I think it said VOD, so
Did it?
yeah, I don't know if it'll be streaming anywhere, but I'll probably check it out.
I thought I found the movie, but I did not. It's The Ghost something, man. Oh, The Ghost and the Darkness. There it is.
Okay, cool.
From 1996, and it has Val Kilmer and Michael Douglas in there.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember it being cool, but I haven't seen it since then.
Very cool.
So I watched.
Yeah, let's see what I watched. You got
Okay,
anything?
I do. I have one from 2022, and this one's over on Shudder. It's called Moloch, 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 and I believe it is a. Let's see what country it's from. It's from the Netherlands, and currently streaming on Shudder. And it is about a. If you guys are familiar with what bogs are, it's kind of like a swampy kind of thing where they tend to find bodies that are super well preserved. So this lady and her young daughter live with the grandparents over by the bog, and the scientists come and they start uncovering old bodies and stuff. And of course, like spooky stuff starts happening. It turns out there's a local legend where you sacrifice a female to like the bog creature slash witch thing, and then of course nothing bad happens for a certain amount of time. Lo and behold, something starts happening. Bodies start turning up. Dudes start getting this urge to just go out into the bog and start digging for no reason, then dying of like cardiac arrest. It's really cool. It's really folksy. It's like a folk tale, and it's really slow. It has this random sex scene in the middle of the bog that comes out of nowhere where they just start banging, and it's like super out of place. But other than that, it's pretty solid. I gave it 3 out of 5 on Letterbox. If you like the kind of folktale kind of horror similar to, oh gosh, what's that one? Midsommar, but obviously not as good. Then I think you would like this one over on Shudder. That's Moloch, 2022. So if you need some 2022 films, you can do worse. That's all I had actually.
Oh, okay. I have a lot because I've been sick. So basically, all I was been doing for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I've been watching movies, almost like 4 a day. So a lot of movies to talk about, but I'll only talk about three. The three that kind of stood out the most. The first one is the one that we have the interview for at the end of the episode, and that's 2022 Slapface. I watched it over on Shudder. This one, a boy deals with the loss of his mother by creating a relationship with a dangerous monster. So basically, this boy is alone. He's living with his older brother, and whenever they have some kind of argument with each other, for whatever reason, they play a game called Slapface, where they slap each other across the face, and that's supposed to like,
As boys do, as boys do.
yeah, it gets a little it gets a little intense though. Like it's a little bit of an intense game of Slapface there, and he's just having a hard time with life. His girlfriend is really like abusive, like emotionally abusive to him, and people pick on him at school and everything like that. So he finds this witch in the woods that's a really creepy design, like a really cool witchy design, and he befriends this witch, and then it just becomes where the witch starts doing bad shit, and they blame the kid for it, and he's like, the witch is trying to help him, but at the same time it's kind of hurting him at the same time. It's like that kind of relationship that they have. And yeah, it's basically the story about how he's dealing with his issues slash trying to deal with the witch, trying to save his friends and his family, while the witch is getting really jealous and it's going to really create havoc in his life. I think it's a solid film, and I know Joe did as well. He'll probably talk about it in a What Watch in a future episode. There's a lot of metaphors at play here regarding the witch and what's going on, and I really like that. I think it's a clever way of showing a story that we've kind of seen before, and I really like the design of the witch. The kills are fucking brutal, and I think this is one to check out over on Shudder. And it's a 2022 film, so like you, it's a good way to pad your 2022 watch list for the year.
I did have a book actually.
Oh, good.
The Last House on Needless Street, written by Catriona Ward. And the less you know about this one, the better. If you like unreliable narrators where you're following the first character along and you don't know if they're lying to you or not, or if they're mentally unstable, if they're dreaming, a combination of all of that, then you will definitely like this. It's one that you have to pay attention to. It's not a quick read where you can just, read a couple minutes before bed. This one will definitely require your undivided attention when you're reading it. So go into that knowing that. But essentially, it's about a young girl around 6 or something. She's at the lake with her family. She gets kidnapped. Flash forward a number of years, and her older sister, who's at the lake with her that day, is on a quest to find who kidnapped her. So she goes through like police evidence, and she has a detective friend that like kind of gives her tips, but she doesn't really help her out that much. So she's frustrated. Um, and then meanwhile, you have this character that's her like main focus, and he's like a recluse. He has all his windows boarded up. He talks to his cat like it's a person. So you're like, is this guy a fucking murderer? And then I'll leave it at that, because like everyone in the story, you don't know who's telling the truth, who's not, who's full of shit, who's crazy, and it is a very good read. So that's The Last House on Needless Street. And I also started What We Do in the Shadows season 4. I've only watched episode 1. Did you watch started yet, Steve?
Yeah, I'm up to date.
Okay. I was a little disappointed with that I started, because how season 3 ended, I'm like, okay, they're all branching off. And then this one pretty much has them back in the house like 10 minutes in the episode. But I still love the characters. I love the premise. I love the setup. So I'm looking forward to continuing that.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It wasn't the strongest start. I think there are elements that I like. I'm not a big fan of what they're doing with Colin right now. I think
Baby Colin?
baby Colin, it's creepy.
It is.
and,
It is.
and it was funny for a little bit, but it's like there's too much attention on it now, especially with the last episode. Although it was a solid episode, I think his involvement is a little annoying. I like Nadja's, like club. So hopefully that brings us to places. The only problem with the season so far that I really have is that you don't see enough interaction between the group. They're all off on their kind of little adventures. Like they're all together within the same area, but they're all doing kind of their own thing within that area. Whereas what I like the most about the show is when it's just them like riffing off each other. And even at the house, like the best scenes to me are all at the house, and you barely stay in the house in the season. So still looking forward to it. I still fucking love the show, but I don't think it has quite the same magic it did in the first 2 seasons. But hopefully it gets better.
Yeah, I'm still gonna watch it. It's hard to capture that magic that they brought, but who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. My next one is a movie from 2013, which I watched over on Tubi, and it's called Hell Baby. So this one stars Rob Corddry. He's kind of the guy that looks like Colin Robinson, and I always confuse the two in movies. He was also in
Hot Tub Time Machine.
Hot Tub Time Machine,
Okay.
and he was in that what's that zombie movie that for
Warm Bodies.
Warm Bodies. Yeah, that's right. He was in Warm Bodies as well.
Bitches, man.
Keegan Michael Key is in this as well. So in this one, he and his wife move to a haunted house, and she's pregnant, and they have a hell baby, and that's really the premise of the movie. There's not too much more than that. This movie starts off shaky. I didn't really know what the hell was going on. It's kind of goofy, and it's a little like low budget, and I was just like, I don't know, it's not really funny. I don't know what they're going for here. But as the movie is progressing, I started like understanding what the movie was going for. And after that, I started really liking it. A really fucking random shit happens in this movie. And then they turn up the gore all of a sudden, like midway through the movie. And it just had a charm to it that I can't quite explain. It's like one of those so bad that it's good movies, but it has somewhat of like quality budget. It's not like a shot on video thing or anything like that. I mean, there are legit actors in this and stuff like that. And by the end of it, I was like, okay, this is not bad. I've never heard anyone talk about this movie, and it's been out for almost a decade. It's just something I happened to fall on Tubi, and it's totally worth it. So that's Hell Baby from 2013.
Never even heard of that one.
Yeah, neither had I. I don't even remember what made me want to watch it, but
The title.
it could have been the poster if it's Tubi.
Yeah, let me look at the poster real quick, because they have the best fucking posters too.
Yeah, it's not even that. Like the one on Letterboxd isn't even that great, so I don't even know.
see here.
what it was.
Hell Baby. Oh, I don't even have it on. Oh, actually, no. It's stupid Tubi trying to get me to watch what they want me to watch. Oh, Hell Baby. Yeah, it's a girl with boobs. That's probably what made you
Maybe.
want to watch it.
And my last one this week is a movie from 2022. Now that the 80s list is like pretty much done, we're doing that episode in 2 weeks. I'm moving forward with 2022 movies, just trying to, make that list a little bit better. So I saw this go on Tubi, and I saw the original. It's called Jack in the Box, and I didn't really like the original. It was like 2019 or 2020, but they made a sequel called Jack in the Box Awakening. So I'm like, you know what, fuck it, why not? I'll give it a shot. And honestly, I was surprised. It was way better than the original. So in this sequel, a woman is dying of cancer, and she pays someone to find the Jack in the Box for her. And the way it works is that you crank it up, and you have to give the Jack in the Box 6 victims, and he'll grant you a wish. So in her case, it's to live again, or to cure her cancer. And that's basically the premise of it. It's mostly her hiring like assistants and maids and stuff like that, so she can feed him to the box. And it was actually not too bad. There's a lot of drama between the servants and the maids and everything, which was kind of pointless, and all that is really slow. But when it gets to the actual Jack in the Box stuff, it's actually A, very frightening, and B, really gory and actually really good. I was surprised by how good this movie was compared to the original. So I mean, it's still not a great film, but if you even somewhat like the original, or you thought the original had potential but didn't fulfill it, this one does so a little bit more. So you could check it out on Tubi, and that's Jack in the Box Awakening.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, have you seen the original?
No.
Oh, yeah, I know Joe did. So it's just one of those that, like, the trailer was really creepy when it came out. I think we even talked about the trailer on the show at some point, but the movie really didn't deliver. But this one did a better job of it. Just it's too much filler with like drama that didn't really need it. It's like,
probably the pad runtime.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not that long, thankfully. It's not like a 2-hour film or anything. It's like an hour 20 or something. So at least there's that. But yeah, the Jack in the Box stuff was actually really cool, and a very cool design on the Jack in the Box himself. And yeah, I liked it.
Very cool. Well, obviously we can't do trivia tonight, and no news, so I guess we get straight into Nope.
Yeah,
and we have a lot of questions. Before we begin with Nope, though, I want to read some of these reviews on Letterboxd, because it seems like this movie is like people trying to do the funniest review, the one-liner shit. So I say a couple, and warning: a lot of these are sexual in nature, based on what the creature is. Also, double warning: we're gonna spoil the heck out of Nope. So if you haven't seen it, you plan to see in the future, please do not listen until you do that. We're not liable for you getting spoiled. This person says this is my Don't Look Up, which I guess is a movie from Netflix.
Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't. Have you?
Yeah, I did. It wasn't good. Don't.
Yeah.
A lot of amazing actors like DiCaprio and like a lot of great people, but the movie was just really slow and kind of pointless. So
yeah. This person says giant gaping butthole in the sky eats Californians. Gotta go home and murder my IKEA plush monkey immediately. I want to have sex with an alien. Is that weird? Don't look at me while I'm sucking you off. And my personal favorite from a girl named Grace Spielman: that's what my pussy looks like.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
Yeah. Personally, I don't like the one-liner comedic reviews. It's just people trying to get likes and stuff on Letterboxd. But
yeah, they're great for our game that we do with the Letterboxd reviews.
There you go. There's one.
But outside of that, yeah, it's just people trying to get likes, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
People don't like your in deep
depth
thought review. They want one-liners and move on. So
yeah. All right. Well, Nope, directed by Jordan Peele, 2022, director of Get Out and Us. The tagline is, "What's a bad miracle? Residents in a lonely gulch of inland California bear witness to an uncanny, chilling discovery." All right, so we have Mr. Daniel Kaluuya and playing O.J. Haywood, and his sister Keke Palmer, who plays Emerald M. Haywood. Steve Young, supporting cast, who owns like this little Western town theme bonanza thing, and he's also a previous child actor who has a connection to like an infamous thing in Hollywood where he was a young actor on set with a chimpanzee. The show was basically set around the chimpanzee and the wonky antics they get into. That chimpanzee snaps and kills the entire cast while recording and spares Ricky Jupe Park for some reason, which we will delve into later. Meanwhile, Dan Kaluuya and Keke Palmer. Dan Kaluuya is the son of a horse wrangler that works for Hollywood, the Haywoods, and that's played by Keith David of The Thing, and there's something about Mary, Frank and the Beans guy. So they do, horse rentals and things like that for Hollywood movies and stuff like that. So they're trying to get that business together because in the beginning of the film, they're working on a horse, him and his dad, and he just falls off his horse once a bunch of metal starts randomly falling from the sky. He dies from a quarter that goes through his eyeball into his brain, and that kind of sets the tone for the movie. So they're trying to struggle with the Hollywood thing, trying to keep the business afloat while they're dealing with the horses just disappearing, randomly running off, screaming into the night. They start seeing stuff in the sky. Meanwhile, Stephen Young's character is holding his little Western bonanza, and he's working out a deal with Daniel Kaluuya's character for more horses, which leads us to believe like, why do they need more horses for the ranch? Where are the other horses going? So we'll leave it at that. I only watched the original trailer. I tried to avoid that second one because as soon as I started watching it, it started showing literally everything that was going on. So that was a bummer. Which kind of like takes away from the film, in my opinion, if you watch the second trailer, because it kind of eliminates some of the cool random shots that come out, like the alien spaceship flying around, things like that. Overall, my initial thoughts were I liked it a lot. I definitely loved it. Loved it for about 75% of the movie. But towards like the last 25 or so minutes, it started losing me a little bit just because I didn't really like the ending and what happened with the alien/creature. But I'll leave it at that. And I'll just say overall, I really enjoyed it. And it's a lot better than Us, in my opinion. Not as good as Get Out. That was a hard one to follow, but this one's pretty solid.
So usually I like to digest films like this, have time to think about it and really kind of ponder my thoughts and everything, because there's a lot to this movie. Like there's a lot going on, a lot of metaphor, a lot of elements that come into play. But I saw it, like I came out of the theater an hour and a half ago as of this recording, so I didn't have a ton of time to digest it. So my thoughts might change over time, maybe even with the discussion here with Todd, because I do have some questions that I'm interested in seeing what Todd has to say. But my initial reaction is that I liked it a lot. I thought it was like a big spectacle film, super well shot, amazingly acted, which I'm not surprised. I mean, for either of those, Peele's a great director. Kaluuya is like just at the top of his game. Keke Palmer was fantastic in her role. Stephen Young's amazing and everything. So I'm not really surprised at any of those things, but I had a lot of fun watching it because there are a lot of elements and it went in directions that I wasn't quite expecting. I had seen the second trailer, but I guess I kind of turned my mind off when I was seeing it because I was kind of forced to in a theater. You're sitting there and they play it, but it didn't really register what was going on. So I think that's a good thing. So I really didn't know what to expect out of this, and I was pleasantly surprised. Now, is it my favorite film of the year? No. Right now, it's in my top 3. It's not my favorite. Do I think it's better than the other Peele films? I think same thing as you, which is a question we get later, but I think it's in between Us and Get Out. I think Get Out is practically a masterpiece, and Us was good, but it definitely had some issues that I had with it. But overall, I dug this movie, but I do have some issues with it and a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions that I have, and I didn't have time to look them up, so I guess a good thing that we can kind of talk about it.
Shoot, I mean, lay them out there. See.
All right, so my first question is, so the very first scene, Keith David gets killed because they say that a airplane exploded and a bunch of stuff fell in the sky. Now, of course, we know later that that's, the alien, or what was it they call it, the jean jacket? I think that's what they called it.
Yeah, creature.
Yeah, the jean jacket creature. But why wasn't there blood the first time? Because clearly a lot of stuff was falling out of the sky, so that couldn't have just been one person. That had to be at the very least a few people. So why wasn't there blood that time? Because it would have given it away, or
well, I think that's why. Yeah. If you think of it plot wise. Well, here's the thing. Now that you mentioned that, I thought that the first time it takes the entire amusement park crowd was the first time it turned on humans. However, you're right. If it dropped quarters, it dropped car keys that first time, so it had to have preyed on humans before. So yeah, where was the blood? That's actually a really good point. I
Yeah,
think that was just
and where those humans come from. Like, we didn't hear anything about it.
true. And if you think like this giant, yeah, you know what? This is one you kind of have to turn the brain off a little bit, because you know this thing would be seen like a billion fucking times by everybody, on the freeway. That thing is a giant ass thing, and there was like it looked like what, a trailer park or a shipping yard or something
It
next
was,
to.
it was like a shipping district. There are a lot of buildings next to
Yeah,
Juniper Hill,
right.
which they show like near the end.
Hmm.
Because at first it kind of looks like it's in a deserted area, but when you see an aerial shot right at the end, you see that there's a ton of buildings out there. So
Right.
you're right, someone would have seen it. And everyone has cameras. It's a show, so it's like practically an amusement park.
Well, I guess that
Um,
it does shut down electronics, right?
it does, but no one thought that was weird. Like, no one investigated that in 6 months. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It just seems convenient to me.
So, was this the first time they were doing the show and showing the crowd the alien?
No, it was. I was led to believe that they had done this a little bit, or maybe not. I'm not sure.
Because because I don't know, because the wife was making him practice again before he went out for the show.
Right, which we also saw one time. Daniel Kaluuya looks across the field at night,
That's
and
true.
he's doing the show, so maybe he's just rehearsing for that
Maybe.
first show, right?
Oh, you know what? He does bring, hey, we're doing our new show or whatever. Friday night, come over.
Yeah, and it
So
would
maybe,
make sense that he brought his co-star too, who got like wrecked by
that's true.
the ape. Like, she wouldn't go there for just a random show. You should go there for the first show, right?
What was the name? Gordo? Gordon?
Gordy.
Gordy,
That's the
there
name
you
of
go.
the ape, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So maybe it was the first show.
yeah, that makes more sense.
Hmm.
But it still doesn't make sense that,
For the first seat. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's a really cool scene.
it is.
That's kind of the problem with Us too. It like had really cool scenes, but that they didn't like stick to it. Like when the little boy was mimicking the other little boy and it ends up killing the little boy. But why wasn't it mimicking the whole movie? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so it's like some cool stuff he has in there, but that doesn't make sense plot wise when you think about it. So
Yeah.
I guess we'll chalk that one up to
Yeah.
cool
Let's just say,
scene, but
the way I saw it, or I asked someone, a friend of mine, Zach, what he thought of it, and what he said is that it ate so many people that second time that it was almost like too much. So he kind
uh,
of puked it back out. Whereas the first time it could have been just 5 people, and that it was able to digest easier.
got it.
I think, I
I
don't know.
I choose to believe that he shits him out
Okay, it's just like,
because it's funnier.
yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah. So there's that. I loved the scene where you think you see the aliens for the first time. It turns out it's a prank by Juniper Hill, but that scene was so well done. And I
Yes.
love that he's like about to investigate, and then the other one comes out. He's like, "Nope," and just like walks away. I thought that was a great scene.
I love that scene, and I'm like, oh, okay, they're coming down. Like at first, I'm like, oh, these look really cheap, but then they started doing the noises and the little head movements. I'm like, all right, I can get behind this. And then it turns out it was just a prank, which I was kind of disappointed in, to be honest. I was hoping that it was an alien ship and they're just fucking around, which would have been cool. But oh, did you see the part? Like, I think you'll miss it if you weren't like really looking. Is one of the kids had a black eye from when he got
No,
punched? Yeah,
I didn't notice that.
yeah. One of the kids they show briefly
Oh,
towards the
that's
end
nice.
has
That's
a
a good
black eye
one.
from him. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, because they don't really address that again. They just
uh,
he just punches a kid, and they just chalk it up to, well, he kind of deserved it.
but the whole reason they do it is because Kiki Palmer steals the plastic horse.
Right.
For what
Which,
reason? To lure out the alien?
yeah, basically is
Got it. Okay.
yeah.
Huh.
No, that was a great scene too, where Stephen Young comes to the farm, but they keep him at a distance
Oh,
for
they're
whatever
yelling. Yeah.
reason. Yeah, I think that was a funny scene. And this movie's full of like scenes that I like.
Hmm.
It's when you start thinking about the overall picture that I have more issues. So my biggest issue with the film, I'm just going to dive right in,
Yeah. Go for it.
is that So this whole thing is basically so they could get rich by getting footage of this UFO, so they could sell it on Oprah or whatever. Like it just seems like
Bitch, you
such a
love
weird.
Oprah.
Yeah,
I don't know what she said that.
it seems like a weird motivation to go through all this fucking crazy ass trouble. They're stealing stuff. People have died, and all they could think of is like, oh, we could probably make a quick buck if this goes viral.
It's a weird motivation to keep doing it after certain things happen. It's
Yeah,
like, really? We're sticking with it?
they're like stuck to this right to the end,
Right.
until the very end when they actually want to destroy it, or at least hurt it.
But then her main goal is to take a picture.
Yeah, exactly.
With
That's
the
right.
wishing well.
She's like fighting the wishing well stuff.
That
Yeah.
takes HD
Right.
pictures. Which, if I saw that picture, I'd be like, that's fake as fuck. Which one of my biggest problems with the creature is that it came out of nowhere that it was like turning into something else. And it looked like a giant flying plastic sheet, where at one point I'm like, wait, did I miss, like, did they release a sheet and it got stuck on it? Because then it turns into like a paint tarp, essentially.
Yeah, the way I saw it is that I forget what his name is, Angel.
Uh-huh.
He like wraps himself in barbed wire, and then he goes up to shoot, and I thought that ripped like the outer layer of this creature, so the covering of what was the mass was now ripped, so it looked like a kind of deflated sheet.
Then it goes back to it, though, right at the
Yeah,
end.
which is weird, right? Because then I don't understand. But I thought that was the whole point of showing that scene where he wrapped himself in barbed wire. But it turns out it was just, I guess, to spit him out, right? Just
so you can get sucked off. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's right after that the creature changes. So I figured it had something to do with that, like he damaged it somehow. Because he also brings up the entire barbed wire fence. It's not like it's just his character. He like sucks up the entire fence. So I thought that's what hurt the creature. So they had to kind of show itself that it's more vulnerable side. Like any video game that we play. There's always that outer shell that you have to beat before he finally like eventually whittles down to whittles down to his fifth fucking shape where you could finally beat Dr. Wily without his little suit or whatever it is. So that's what I thought was happening.
I thought it was a missed opportunity for the cinematographer, because he's like, you don't deserve to get the perfect shot or whatever. So he's going to sacrifice himself. But I thought that camera was going to play a factor, that his handheld. And like I'm like, okay, this camera's going to fall out of the gullet and they're going to get the film and then all is well. But he got sucked up and then, okay, that guy's gone.
The end. Yeah, that whole story that we've been following for the last 20 minutes just gone.
Yeah. His fucking voice. He's like Sylvester Stallone, but like deeper.
Yeah.
I get that perfect shot. Oh, you know who I hated? The fucking random reporter with a one-eyed
what the
helmet.
hell was that? Like the TMZ guy with the reflective shield face?
Who rides a motorcycle with a one-eyed helmet?
It was the weirdest thing. I just really didn't understand that whole scene. It was pointless. It didn't do anything to further the story whatsoever.
I get it was making fun of the TMZ culture, like to do anything to get the shot. I get that. But it was like such a momentum kill. And like, all right, let's see what the plan's gonna happen. And this fucking weirdo on an electric bike rolls up. He has a voice changer in his helmet. It sounds like a robot. I was like, what was the point of this, man? That was such a bad choice.
I thought that was going to be some big reveal, because
like an alien or something.
Something, because they hide his face so like in such a way that I thought, okay, this has got to be either an alien, someone coming back, like Stephen Young actually survived or something, and his face is fucked up, or it's some kind of big ass celebrity cameo that we wouldn't expect. It had to be one of those three, but they never fucking show it, so it was just a completely pointless nothing.
He's literally there to make fun of reporters and to get killed on camera.
Yeah,
for their camera, their little show.
It was such a waste of time. It really didn't add anything to the story. Speaking of something cool, it wasn't a waste of time, but that they really went the long game on for really little payoff, in my opinion, is the entire Gordy sub-story with Stephen Young. It's cool. Like, it was cool to look at it. It was cool to see what happened. It was interesting. I liked his little like backstory, but all that basically just to pay off that don't fuck around with animals, you'll get hurt. It seemed like really playing the long game on that one.
I agree. And I kept trying to make the connection story wise to the movie, and like, which we'll get to the magic shoe later. So I asked it. I think other people asked it. It's like, what the fuck is this magic shoe? But yeah, I honestly thought that was kind of the better character to follow, was his character, Stevie Young's character. Because I'm like, oh wow, like, because when you go to the ranch and he's like telling you about what happened, and he's basically his rendition is very lighthearted. He's talking about how the SNL spoofed it, how it wasn't that big of a deal. And then when you see the actual what happened in reality, where the chimp is like eating people's faces off, bludgeoning them to death, and then he gives them like a fist bump at the end covered in blood before he gets shot in the face. It's like, wow, like I really want to see Stephen Young's character, because this motherfucker, child actor, survived a chimp rampage. Now he has a Western themed town. Like, let's hear more about this. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the Hawthorne's farm. That was really cool. But I think I wanted a little bit more of Stevie Young's character, because he's such a good actor, and I just want to see more of him. And that whole subplot, while I agree with you, like didn't make sense to the story, besides, hey, he didn't learn from his mistakes. Like he fucked with the animal before. Not necessarily his fault. He's a kid. But then he should know better. Now he's fucking with an alien, and basically leads his family and all his like followers, or what do you want to call them, to their deaths. So I get that, but it still didn't make any a lot of plot wise sense.
Yeah, which even like furthers our point from before that it would have been cool if he came back somehow and he was the only survivor of that massacre and his face was fucked up, kind of like his co-star. You know, that was his penalty, was that he got fucked up the same way his co-star did, you know, how many years ago um with Gordy.
Yeah, I was expecting him to be in the final act for sure.
Yeah, because it's so
He's a
like
big character.
anticlimactic. Yeah. He
Yeah.
just gets sucked up at the end. You don't see him anymore.
Right. You don't even focus on him inside the alien's fucking throat either. It's like random
That's right.
people,
They show random people, yeah.
which I thought was a really cool scene, them getting sucked up and screaming. I wish they would have gone. I wish once that started, it never would have stopped with the horror stuff. Like I was hoping to get graphically more intense too, because that whole shitting slash throwing up on the house, all the blood, that was super horrific, man. And then the whole sucking up all the crowd, they're screaming, really cool. But then it kind of notches back again, which is a bummer.
Yeah, you're right. It really ramps up to like at night, and that whole scene where Daniel Kaluuya's character is like not looking and he's banging on the truck so that the other two characters could get in. That was a terrifying scene and a really well paced scene, and it was scary. The alien was still mysterious enough, but we had seen it enough. It was like a perfect mix of everything. But then they go through this whole fucking thing in the daylight with these inflatable animal things, and like it just, yeah, you're right. It kind of ramps the horror down to the point where it's like, okay, you know, it goes more goofy, I guess, in a way, because of the design of the alien. And
Yeah. Plot wise, it doesn't make sense to have the massacre happen before the climax, because you would have had like 50 fucking cops there searching for a missing 40 people the entire time. You know what I mean? So I think that was a mistake too. I think they should have had a epiphany where it's like, oh fuck, this is what it is. Oh shit, they're doing their show Friday night. Oh fuck, let's try to help them. Then they get sucked up, and then the fucking movie just never stops from there. Instead of, like you said, breaking pace, going back to the daytime, and you're like, oh, we're here again.
yeah, and I kind of wish they put more emphasis on the history of their ranch. You know, at the beginning, they really push hard that this is, you know, the first ever moving footage was their great grandfather on a horse, and then the fact that they work for Hollywood, you know, in animal wrangling. Other than the fact that that one camera put the reflection in the horse's eye, that doesn't really pay off much in the end. You know, it just, they could have just been ranchers, and the Hollywood thing could have been completely dropped. So it's just like all these great ideas that don't really go anywhere or amount to enough to warrant spending so much time on them. You know, it's
That's where he got his idea not to look in its eye. It's one eye, right? Because the
that's
horse freaked
basically,
out.
that's all that really came out of that scene, is that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's weird because they show him kind of being like out of his element. Like I don't know if it was meant like he kind of had like a social disorder or something like that. But either way, like he needed his sister to be the saleswoman and him just to be the wrangler. But it didn't really like, you're right, it didn't go anywhere besides him having an epiphany moment later. Oh, don't look in its eye, because this one scene where my horse kicked something at a Hollywood event, like, which
Yeah. I thought he was just socially awkward. You know, he worked on a ranch alone,
that's
like
true.
with his dad all the time, so he just didn't have that kind of energy. Whereas his sister, which I love that fucking character, by the way, I think Keke Palmer really kills it as this character. She was just interesting in every scene that she was in. I love when she's dancing. I love when she's, you know, going through her speeches and stuff like that. So she's
Yeah, she's
fantastic.
really, really energetic.
Yeah. And yeah, it was great seeing her do that scene, you know, kind of explaining the family history, and you get a lot of context, but I wish that context was used for
Went somewhere.
more than just that, you know. So
Yeah, maybe like Hollywood tricks they used. I don't know.
yeah, anything.
Well,
Right?
I guess it was, that scene was there for two reasons. For him to figure out that it's don't look in its eye, and for the cinematography to be introduced, the cinematographer.
I guess so, yeah, because that's the only way that they can bring
Yeah.
him in, which is also weird because he's like outdoor, you know, cinematographer for like wild animals and stuff from what they show later. So
Yeah.
for him to do basically like a commercial,
That was stupid too, because he was like, I do one for them and then one for me. Like, why are you doing this fucking commercial? Like, you do like a fucking Star Wars movie for them, and then you do your art house for you. Like, but I thought that whole character, he was just a little bit over the top.
yeah, that character didn't work for me. I
No.
thought they could have done the same role, like toned down.
They could have had Angel just be the fucking tech guy.
Yeah, basically, because that's you know, if
Yeah.
you're bringing him in, might as well be him, you know,
I
doing all
mean,
that stuff.
he's
Because
setting up all the cameras, so why not just make him?
yeah,
They don't need to have a mechanical. It was once again another cool item, a handheld mechanical camera, but was it needed? No, they could have done old fashioned fucking Kodak mechanical things. I know that's still electronic in it, but a little throwback to the 90s and 2000s. But
yeah, and they should have at least retrieved that footage somehow. You know,
yes,
for all that trouble. No, he just like, nah, fuck this. They don't deserve impossible. Grabs the fucking gear and just leaves. You
yeah,
know, like what? Why?
yeah. Well, he grabbed his own camera. They still had the footage from the big one,
Yeah, that's right.
so they still have that. But like, yeah, like let's see that footage. There's your proof. Him getting sucked into a fucking alien.
Yeah, that footage should have dropped down from the sky or something. You know that. So they
Yeah,
had something other than that one like Polaroid, basically from an amusement park. Yeah.
right, right.
Oh, great! You got that picture at Disney, and it
Oh,
shows a big
cool.
alien craft. I wonder why. You know,
Oh
like
man.
I come out of Disney with fucking pictures of ghosts and stuff.
Oh,
It's not,
that's
doesn't mean there are
that's
ghosts out there.
proof. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Wait, those aren't real ghosts?
Oh, shocker! It's that should go on Oprah.
Yeah.
Look, there's
Seriously,
three
like,
ghosts behind me at this doom buggy that I'm in.
yeah. Short of the fucking Millennium Falcon landing on the White House lawn, nothing's gonna ever prove aliens, like picture
Exactly.
wise. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, man, my ratings dropped a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Magic shoe. I heard Joe's explanation
Oh,
in spoilers saying that someone said, "What is a bad miracle?" or whatever. So maybe the shoe was a miracle.
Daniel Kaluuya has he asked what a bad miracle is.
Okay. So shoe that stays upright defies the laws of gravity. What was the point?
None. Just a
Just be cool.
just a striking image. You know, like I can't think of anything that did for anything. You know, it's just like
It
let's
was shown
open the shot.
twice.
It
Yeah,
was shown twice, yeah. But they also showed that scene twice, so
that's true.
that's why. But the shoe comes back at some point. I don't remember.
He has it in his museum.
Oh, that's what it is. So it had
Yeah.
to have some significance, right? Other than just
We saw it 3 times and they were focals 3 times. So it's like,
yeah,
what is the point? Cool scene,
yeah. But
but
it's basically the motto for this movie. Cool, a lot of cool scenes, and we're talking a lot of like kind of negativity because of the story and everything. But there's a lot like visually, and that was just fucking amazing. It just yeah, it
yep.
was awesome. Like all the first like 3-4 times we see the alien creature or ship, it was really cool the way that it was in the clouds and the way it
Yeah.
would like disappear over the
Silent.
horizon.
Yep.
Yeah, and the silence was great, and yeah, there was a lot to love about this movie as well. I don't want to make it seem like we didn't like it, but
No, I mean, yeah, I got a couple shout outs too to the young girl in the flashback scene where Gordy, whatever her name is. Man, she has a rough life. She gets her face ripped off, and then she gets killed by an alien 20 years later. That sucks. And then how stupid is the TV dad who's hiding? Stay upstairs. He's hiding upstairs, and he runs down.
Right.
I'm like, what are you fucking doing? You deserve to get mauled by this fucking thing. Hide.
Yeah, he should have been there before the monkey went crazy on the girl.
Yeah.
Or not go at all, you know? Like, why later go down there?
Kick that monkey in the nuts, dude, or something. Jeez.
And where was everyone else? Where's security?
They booked it.
Yeah, like, there's nobody in the studio other than 2 kids.
No one's getting on like a fucking light, like a lighting pole or something, and beating this monkey over the head with it.
Yeah,
you're just gonna let him rip faces off.
You think there'd be at least someone trying to deal with it, other than just letting the kids get destroyed.
Yeah, and the mom get beat to death.
Yeah.
I thought that the footage was going to play a part too. Like they had the footage of it, which they did.
Right.
But a lot of questions from that, which we'll never get answers to because it's not going to be a sequel for that or anything. But
yeah.
What else is on your list?
Well, I don't have a list because I just watched it. Right.
That's
just
right.
Like, I'm all going based off memory. But let's go to the questions. Maybe that'll spur some of the conversations. So you can ask us those questions on social media at the Horror Squad Podcasts, or of course on our Discord. Just ask us for the link. We will send it to you. The only reason we don't have it out there is because it's like a 24-hour link and you have to renew it all the time. So it's kind of a pain. So just DM any one of us or the group and we will give you that link for the Discord. So the first question is from Mondo, our co-host on the Lex XP Geek and Gaming podcast. He asked, so did the name Nope really stand for Not of Planet Earth?
I guess, technically, right?
Yeah, I guess so. But they also say a lot in the movie.
I think they say it twice.
Was it just twice? I feel like they said more than twice.
But I remember maybe. I don't. I still don't like the title.
No, you don't like?
No, it's too cute. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, all his titles are really short, right? It's like,
I mean, Get Out, Us, but Nope. It's just like, I don't know. Wasn't my thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it means, but that's a perfectly good way of deciding what it would do. Next question is from Caleb. Anyone else immediately look up into the sky to check the clouds after watching it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I made that joke like an hour after, like, that cloud hasn't moved all day.
Yeah, I actually like the whole cloud thing. I thought that was interesting because it was a way to make the characters believe what was going on. But it was subtle enough as well, like it wasn't too in your face. So I like that with it. I thought it was just creepy that it was staying there, like in the area, like always watching on them, and you never knew when it would come out. So I thought it was a clever aspect to the movie. And I really like the little dangling flags from the horse, because then you could see that it was there for like a good portion of the movie.
It's like Jaws with the floats.
Yeah, exactly. And I fucking love when the horse comes back and it's like embedded in the truck and he's driving around with the horse like upside down on his truck. I thought that was a really cool visual. So. Next question from Caleb. Any interpretation of the Gordo scenes? Or that's probably Gordy scenes. I think we pretty much...
Yeah, really... I mean, animal service in film is wrong. Other than that, I mean, I think it was just really, really cool scene.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was really cool to see,
yeah.
But it just, I don't know. It seemed like they really pushed it throughout the film to really no big payoff. It's just like essentially just a metaphor. It's almost like a G.I. Joe post credit. Like this is what you need to do. So it's like a very interesting scene in that regard. But I gotta say, so I was a big SNL fan in the 90s. And my favorite was Chris Kattan because I thought he was hilarious. And I thought finally we were giving Chris Kattan some love.
Yeah.
So I thought that was awesome.
There's a couple of jokes that won't make sense to the younger crowd. Is Chris Kattan monkey?
Yeah, Mr. Peeps. Remember?
Yeah.
I love that character.
Isn't The Rock a monkey at one point?
He's his dad.
Yeah. And then the O.J. Simpson joke, people won't get the younger crowd.
No, yeah, they definitely won't.
But look it up. You'll get it. But,
right.
Otis Jr., yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, definitely look up Mr. Peeps from SNL. It's a classic character. His next question: I've never heard the Purple People Eater song performed, spoken like that. It was so eerie and stuck with me for a bit. Are there any songs of that tone, campy or goofy, that would lend themselves to a horror movie if performed like that?
Oh, good question.
Like, I think a lot of those songs, if they're said in a creepy manner,
yeah.
like feel worse. Like, it's not horror, but in Avengers: Age of Ultron, Ultron sings the Pinocchio song, with no strings.
Yeah.
And it just comes off super creepy because of his tone and his delivery.
Yeah.
And there's also, there's a lot of those songs that are super old have some kind of like creepy ass meaning to them, almost like Grimm Brothers stories, like Little Mermaid and all that stuff have really creepy origins. Like London Bridge falling down. If people used to play with that song, but it's really about like a fucking disaster and stuff, shit like that. So
Ring Around the Rosies too.
yeah,
It's like the Black Death.
exactly.
Not exactly what he's asking, but I know in the Dawn of the Dead remake, you fucker get up, come on, get down with the sickness. They play that song like in a cheerier way, which is a different take on it, which is really cool. Yeah, if you get like a young English female child singing any kind of old song, it gets creepy, especially if you hear it at night in the dark.
Yeah, absolutely. And he also says, for example, the Jeepers Creepers song in Jeepers Creepers was an example of that.
What about the Insidious dude? The whisper through the window.
Oh yeah, God,
That's
that song is
already
creepy.
disturbing.
Yeah, that fucking song is disturbing without the Insidious connection.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That guy's oof.
Tiny Tim, man, is just a creepy
nightmare right there.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, next question is from Creature Feature 90, Marla. Were y'all a little mad that white guy decided to go all rogue without taking the monster down? What was even the point? So I'm assuming she means the
cinematographer.
The cinematographer, yeah, like
$10 if you can fucking name his name.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't know. It was just like he was filming it knowing he was going to get eaten, right?
You don't deserve this perfect shot.
Yeah, but he continues to film. It's not like he just goes away into his car and drives off. He goes and tries to get the perfect shot, right? The impossible shot, and gets killed for it. What did he think would happen? Do you think he was just going to get spit out, survive, and use the footage for his personal art film?
I think he's just being fucking edgy, and I'm gonna die getting the perfect shot. Dude, you would never guess this guy's fucking name. His name is Antlers. His first name is Antlers. Last name is Holst.
Oh, jeez.
Jesus, what the
fuck? I think they say it in the movie once, but
Antlers Holst. Gosh damn.
That's
quite the
name
right there.
Yeah, that's quite the name.
That's a man's name. Get the shot. Fucking yeah. They should have had the camera fall out of the creature's at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Her next question: how would you feel living in a house where an alien rained blood, alien excrement, and various personal items of the people it ate?
It's time to get the fuck out of that house.
Yeah,
I think at that point you call the fucking cops and you're like, hey, there's a mass murderer by my house.
Yeah, right. And she says, someone grabbed a Dawn dish soap, or is this house still sellable?
In this market, still sellable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Especially with land.
Yeah, recently repainted. New modifications, very modern.
Wheelchair accessible.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's also a very personal house to them, right? It's like they don't want to get rid of their ranch.
Yeah. What was it? What was Antler fucking with too? Like his old school editing machine?
Yeah, God, my fucking film teacher made us edit with that machine.
Oh, really?
He was super. My film teacher when I was in film school was so like old school, for everything. Like we had to physically cut film, and we had to film on film, which was expensive. First of all, like filming on film.
Or like 8mm or something.
Yeah, because
8mm or 9mm?
It was 8mm. 16 was too expensive. We thought about it, but it was just like too much to buy the rolls and stuff like that, and you had to get it developed and stuff. It was just such a pain in the ass, for really nothing. When we did stop animation, we used the old school like one picture, overhead cameras. Some people like their old school ways,
Yeah, I mean, film looks different.
No, absolutely.
I prefer it over digital any day, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So Em asked us, where does Nope rank in your list of Jordan Peele movies? Now, we answered at the beginning of the review. Has it changed since?
I haven't seen Us since the theater, but I still rate it number 3 with Nope 2 and Get Out far above them both at 1.
Yeah, and I agree. And Joe actually answered the question on the Discord, and he also agrees. So we're all in the same boat. But they're all great. I think all three of them are, great in their own way. But they all have their kind of issues, except Get Out. Get Out's like
Get Out's fucking good.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question is from Weezerface. What Jordan Peele movie would you be the most likely to survive?
Let's see. We got Get Out. We got the rich white guys stealing black people.
Mhm.
Us. We got our doppelgangers trying to kill us and take our lives. And this one we had alien eating people. I guess 3. Right?
Oh,
I mean,
three? Which
uh,
movie?
3 is this one. Nope.
This one is the one you're most likely to.
I think so
survive
because
against?
if you have like a billion doppelgangers, you're kind of screwed. And then Get Out. Well, I don't know. Get Out.
I feel that because we're white guys,
I was gonna say
we'd have we'd have an easy time and Get Out.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that that's the way it is, but that is kind of what the movie's about.
That's true because I wouldn't be one of the evil white guys trying to steal a black body, and I wouldn't be friends with the brother that like drives around in a fucking weird mask, and I'm obviously not a black person. So yeah, you're right. That'd be the easiest for us.
If anything, I'd be the TSA agent in this story. So.
That's true. We get shit done.
Exactly.
Or we handle shit, or whatever he says.
Yeah. So I think our best chance would be Get Out. But I think if you're a black person, then maybe Nope would be an easier.
Back to Nope, man. The whole cowboy theme, and then she gets away on a fucking electric motorcycle. They had horses. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Seriously, it's what happened to the rest of the horses? Did they die?
I think they just chilled the whole time.
Yeah, they're just there, right? Because he specifically says, the cinematographer guy, Antlers, apparently, says like, "Are you going to use them?" And he's like, "No, that's our horses. Yeah, they're horse people. Okay. There's horses are somewhere, through this whole thing."
No, we're going to use that fucking convenient TMZ reporter's electric motorcycle.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, yeah,
stupid ass helmet.
Yeah, it still like boggles my mind that this whole movie is just about them getting footage of the UFO. Like, it seems like it should have been more,
which is not reliable. They even said it themselves. Like, I've seen a bunch of footage online, and that doesn't mean shit. It's like,
yeah, and it's like you have this historic ranch that's been in your family for like 5 generations, and it's getting completely destroyed by this alien, and you're like, did we get the shot? Like it's just it bothers me a little bit.
I can say like killing the fucking alien would be better than just getting a picture, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because then you
proof.
Yeah, exactly. Like Independence Day, if you have the alien or you have the ship or you have whatever, that's proof, right?
Yeah, this movie needed Will Smith.
Yeah, exactly. And also, are there more? Is this the only one? Right? Yeah. Like, why would it be so like a rogue, so quick, like so far from its home planet, and not be? I don't know. It'd be weird if it was the only thing out there.
So satisfied for horses, right? At the beginning, because Stephen Yeun's character was feeding him horses that he bought from Daniel.
Right. Yeah.
But then he kind of abuses power, and fucking there goes everybody in the town.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, this alien's not very smart either. He's taking like the smallest fucking town. There's probably like LA, not too far.
Yeah, you can just go to fucking Hollywood.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're clearly not that far from Hollywood. If
go to a farm,
there, right?
Go to a cow
anywhere.
Farm.
Yeah.
Go to the fucking ocean.
Yeah. No, he goes to the place that they feed one horse every like couple days or whatever.
Yeah. So if you don't look in the alien's eye, you don't get eaten.
That seems to be what happens.
That's the theme, right?
Yeah.
Because every single poster is them looking up at the sky, and then Daniel figures out that he can just look down, and he's cool.
No, exactly. Yeah, it was cool for that scene at night when he's banging on the truck, and
yes.
But after that, I don't know. It seemed convenient, a few times, like because they do constantly go look up at it anyway,
Yeah.
and it doesn't come after them. So I don't know. I guess it was like a plot point. You kind of have to turn your brain off a little bit because they do look up at it a lot in that last scene, despite saying that they shouldn't look at it at all.
Yeah. So the plot. Let me backtrack. So the movie we see, the alien's only been there a short amount of time, right? It hasn't been there a long time.
6 months from what Stephen Young character said
Oh,
in his
that
speech.
makes even less sense then.
I know.
I thought it was like the dad getting killed was like the first aftermath of like one of the alien's first victims, but 6 months.
But
Okay,
that was 6 months ago.
that was 6 months ago.
Yeah, because
Oh, okay.
on the set, when the director's like bitching that they have this junior and not senior,
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, he died 6 months ago, and this is all we got.
Gotcha. Okay, I see.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the first contact, as far as we know, with the alien
Right.
species.
Okay.
Which, again, like, where did they get that food? But
Oh, that makes more sense now in the context where he goes to Stephen Young. He's like, "I want to work to buy back the horses," and he's like, "Yeah,
yeah,
because
yeah,
they're
right,
fucking been eaten."
yeah. Yeah, but who's going into his office to look at the history of like that disaster? I don't know. It seemed,
I would,
yeah,
but how would you know it's there though?
$50,000 for her.
Hey, people got money, they burn it, right?
Yeah, I guess so. It was just, I don't know.
But this, I'm assuming that he fucking stole that shoe from the set. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that.
Or he
Like
bought it off eBay like later or something.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with the creepier version though of him
yeah.
fucking taking the bloody shoe.
I read that the us scissors are also in there, like
Are they?
as a prop in the museum that he has back there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a little Jordan Peele like memorial museum. The last question we had actually was not nope related, but I did want to ask it because it was asked right after we recorded last week, and I hate to like leave questions behind. It came from Patty, and it's regarding Stranger Things. Who will you guys want to survive at the end of the show? So, if you can give immunity to one character, who would it be?
Well, do we think they're gonna kill off anybody this
Yeah,
last season?
I think
You
so.
think so?
Yeah,
Hmm.
maybe not a lot, probably one or two, I'd say. But I think Will is probably the most likely candidate to be killed.
He's had a rough
Yeah,
5 seasons.
he's had a rough series. Yeah, he doesn't get
Yeah.
any love.
I mean, I would have preferred Hopper to stay dead in season 3, even though he's my second favorite character, just because it was a really good send off for him. So I don't want them to pull a Walking Dead with Glenn and bring him back for 5 episodes just to kill him off again. So I'm gonna vote for Hopper and Steve to live because Steve's got the biggest or the best arc overall. So we'll stay with him.
I agree, and I'm so afraid that they're going to kill him off.
Mm-hmm.
That I'd give him immunity just so that I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's no one else like Hopper's cool, but I think he should have died, like you said last week. I think he should have died in season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Steve would also get my immunity.
Yeah, he needs to get a girlfriend he falls in love with and then lives.
Mm-hmm. Something I want to ask about Nope, going back to our review. So how did you feel about the like creature design in the end? We joked about it. Those one line reviews from Letterboxd allude to what it looks like, but what did you feel about it?
The metamorphosis or the first part or anything?
Either, yeah, like all of it, right?
I didn't like, honestly, that it was a creature. So I wasn't really thrilled when it was revealed it was a creature. I thought it was like them sucking up humans or whatever via tractor beam and then feasting on them, which would have been like really fucking scary. And then I didn't like the ending at all with it like expanding. It looked like one of those really creepy undersea creatures that you see that are all fucking fins and shit. So I guess that's what they're going with, but I personally didn't really like it.
Yeah, I thought it should have been both. I thought it should have had aliens come down, but also be like, because we're thinking of spaceships as it has to be an item, right? Because that's how humans interpret the idea of a spaceship. But on an alien planet, it could also be a creature, but also be a vessel to bring aliens, to the thing. So it would have been nice if there were, I guess, more to it than just being one creature that just happens to come to Earth.
Yeah, that would have been cool. It's kind of like Cloverfield, how it has a bunch of little smaller creatures that fall off and
Right. exactly. Yeah, and I agree. It kind of, that second kind of design for it really looked aquatic, which I enjoy. And I do want to read something that was on our Discord. So on our Discord, we have a spoiler room where people discuss like the latest big movies and stuff like that. And Creature Feature, which I asked a question before. I think she used to be a marine biologist, or she used to work with aquatic animals. So I want to read something she said. I thought was really interesting, talking about like the creature design, because I know some people complained about the way that it was digesting people. It looked like they were in like silly tubes, and kind of going up like kind of plastic chutes, and it looked weird. But this is what she says. So she says, anatomy lesson time on sea jellies. You know how you saw from the point of view from inside the creature when shits get eaten? So when sea jellies catch their food, it travels up their tentacles to their belly, where it gets taken to the stomach to get digested. So the alien shape we first see looks a hell of a lot like a sand dollar, and the final boss shape is modeled after a sea jelly and very much eats and discards its excrement the exact same way. So it seems there was more to it than meets the eye, and they actually kept like an actual design of a known sea creature for the way it digests and the way it reacts to things.
Thank you for that education. That makes more sense. I like that.
Because I agree, it looked a little goofy, the way the material looked, because it did look very like balloony, kind of like rubbery. But that makes more sense when I read that. And you're right, I wish they had shown more, like them actually going from the bottom into the tube into the stomach and like made dissolving somehow, or
like a chomping fucking thing.
Yeah,
they're getting slowly sucked into.
Exactly, like
a beak.
And like, because they sucked up Stephen Young that way, at least make him the focus of how it works, because or else he just disappears and never comes back, and it's a bummer, right?
Yeah, that's literally what happened.
Yeah, and I felt very claustrophobic in that, like just the idea of being stuck with a bunch of people in a very tight tube just made my skin crawl.
Getting sucked into something that's mincing you,
Yeah, exactly.
So I imagine like a beak from a fucking what else, octopus, like just stomp or snapping in. That would be cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's or a Sarlacc pit, right? That's what I was thinking of. Like that's what how it digests you over a certain amount of time.
True. And I would have loved to seen body parts or bones or skulls or something fall. That would have been sweet too.
Yeah, because it's only metal, right, that falls, and blood. Do we see any like?
Yeah, metal and plastic, right, from the horse. Is plastic, I
think. Anything that wasn't, I guess.
Well, we didn't see any pants or anything like that, so I guess
that's true. No clothes at all, and you'd think there'd be like cowboy hats.
No, I think we did see a shoe. But
no,
either way, there wasn't a ton of fucking. There would have been 40 pairs of pants, 40 pairs of shirts.
Yeah, no, exactly, right?
So
yeah.
Huh.
More plot devices.
Yeah, more.
Or is it just like, yeah, I don't know. It's tough to say.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in Jaws when they cut open the Mako shark and it's got like a license plate in there and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Well, I think that's all I have that I can remember. Again, I just saw it like, well, I guess at this point 2.5 hours ago, but yeah, I'm sure I'll have more to say about it at some point. But that's why you should join Discord, because I will go into the spoiler room and
straight to the spoilers.
Yeah, exactly. But I think we got a pretty good discussion out of this movie, and just like like a lot of movies that we do, we spent a lot of time kind of dissecting it. But I think overall, I still enjoyed it. I had a fun watching it. It wasn't. I was really into it. I was really curious where it was going and finding out more about the alien spaceship, and the performances were so good, and the visually was so good, and the music, something we didn't really talk about, I thought was really good as well. So there's a lot to love as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's easy to shit on these movies because they actually have a plot. You know what I mean? It's like, you watch, I love Friday the 13th movies. I love them. They're my favorite horror series, but you can't dissect them, Jason kills people at the end. But with this, like, there's a lot to take in. And of course you can find and nitpick a lot of things that don't make sense or you don't like, whatever. But at the end of the day, it was original, a new take on stuff. And I mean, fuck, man, acting's fucking good. Like, straight up good.
Yeah, Daniel Kaluuya has got to stop, because he keeps winning my Best Actor of the Year award. So it's just like unfair to everyone else in the field. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he just went into my Best Actor. He replaced, I forget who I had it in for horror this year, but Oh yeah, he's fucking great, man.
Oh, he's so good. He's so good in everything. It's just
Yeah, Kiki was good too.
Yep.
But Stephen Young was good too. I just wanted more of that fucking guy. I love that fucking actor.
Me too. Oh, me
Yeah.
too. God, it made me want to watch Mayhem again because I just love
Mhm.
seeing that actor in
Oh
horror.
well,
He's
with
just
that fucking girl in that movie too, she's
yeah,
great.
Samara Weaving.
Yep.
hmm
But
People
yeah,
check out Mayhem. It's a great movie.
overall though, I really like this movie. I absolutely loved it until the end, where it lost a little steam there, like with the cinematographer dying and there's no payoff. Stephen Young dying, there's no payoff.
The TMZ
Um,
character with
TMZ,
no
don't even
payoff.
fucking bring that guy up again. I fucking, I hate him. His stupid robot voice. And
Mm.
it might, you know what? It must be a thing. You just don't follow like Hollywood reporting. Maybe that's the fucking thing they do with their stupid ass helmet. I don't know.
So I don't know. Like I watched recently a celebrity talk about the paparazzi,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, because he's someone who doesn't get a lot of paparazzi attention, and he's like, yeah, if unless you're in LA, New York, or London, they rarely come out of their shell to like get you somewhere else, you know?
Because they're all fucking little like twerps, like
Yeah,
sticking
because
cameras up skirts and stuff.
like I forget which movie says this, but they'll get as much money, getting a fucking topless shot of Jennifer Aniston sunbathing in her backyard than they would for an alien spaceship, in some random ranch, right? So it's less of an effort to stay in LA and try to find these like goofy, stupid pictures
Yes.
than go all this way on a motorcycle to try to get something that's so I don't know, like it just doesn't seem
Electric
like
bike, mind you, out in the middle of
an electric
nowhere.
bike.
Where are you gonna charge it at?
Who knows?
Yeah, so cinematographer, no payoff. Stephen Young, no payoff. Stupid ass TMZ guy,
No
plot
payoff.
killing device.
Shoe, no payoff. Gordy, barely a payoff.
Yeah. But overall, I still really enjoyed it, and it's currently number 3, I think, just like you, or at least in my top. Top 3 at least. Not number 1. That's still being held by Fresh because I fucking love Fresh. But yeah, overall, I liked it a lot. I think I'm sitting at an 8 out of 10 right now, 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. That could go as low as probably maybe a 7.5, but no higher than an 8 in my opinion right now.
Yeah, I was toying between 8 and 8.5. I think after talking about it, it's closer to an 8. But that still leaves it at number 3. I think only Sadness and X I put above this for the year so far. But just looking at what's under it, I think they're better than those. So yeah, it's still a solid 8. Jordan Peele movies are amazing, and I enjoyed it a lot. I expected a little bit more out of it, I guess. I almost went in thinking, okay, this is probably going to be my new number 1, but alas, it wasn't. But that's still a great film, not to take anything away from it. And I'm really curious what people think of our review and our points. Maybe we're missing something, sometimes that happens. I didn't have a lot of time to digest it, so I didn't, think about some of these things in depth, but I think talking to Todd about it, I think a lot of the points or the concerns I had are somewhat valid, but I'd love to know your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my top list right now, and it's gonna be interesting because there's a lot of 8s. There's no like perfect 9.5s or anything like that yet, which is a bummer.
Yeah, my top 2 are 8.5s, and then my next 4 are 8s, and then my next like 5 or 7.5. So
Yeah, I have Fresh, The Sadness. Okay, so this one's not my top 3 then. Fresh, The Sadness, X, and then this movie.
Yeah, and I have Sadness, X, this one, then it goes to Exorcism of God, and then Black Phone. So yeah, that's not
TCM is still in there too because it's
me too. God,
nothing's getting bumped.
So I talked about this on the fucking Discord meetup. My number 10 right now, if you can fucking believe it, is Hotel Transylvania 4. That's how bad this year has been so far.
Oh man,
which is my least favorite Hotel Transylvania film. It's still at number 10. Like it'll get bumped off. I'm almost sure of it.
I hope so.
But damn.
I mean, you've seen more than I have though. I only have 14.
Oh, I'm at 34 right now.
Jeez, dude.
I think the back half of this year is going to be better. I really think so. There's a lot still coming out, and I'm psyched. Like I saw 4 trailers during this one, and all 4 of them look good. So
yeah, Smile.
I saw Smile. I saw the Exorcism one. I saw
Pray
Beast.
for the Devil. Beast.
And I saw Halloween. So hopefully Halloween,
Beast could be damaged by shoddy CGI. I'm worried about that.
It's possible.
But
I love the actors involved. So
Oh yeah, Idris and
Charlotte Copley from.
Yep, they're great.
Yeah. So
Sure.
I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
I'm really hoping Halloween bounces back for me because I really could not stand that last one.
Oh, God. It really depends how they handle the characters from the first one, other than Laurie, because they all survived, right? The last one, spoiler, and
except for stupid ass Tommy Doyle.
He survived.
Did he survive? I thought
I
he
think
fucking
so.
died.
No, I thought he survived at the end. I gotta rewatch it because.
Oh yeah.
Right, I'm gonna rewatch like the two others before I watch Ends. Yeah, I guess we'll see.
I thought he fucking died, dude.
No, I don't think so. I think him
I just hope he die.
Yeah, and Kylie Richards, I forget her character name. She survives too.
Oh, she hides in like a fucking
like a sewer
park
drain
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up. What was his name? Tommy Doyle.
Tommy Doyle.
Let's see. Tommy Doyle death. Yeah, he has his death. Yeah, he gets killed.
Oh yeah, okay, good. Because I hated that character.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah. And I'm just curious, what's Michael Myers been doing for 4 years or wherever time?
Jerking off. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird.
4 years is a weird time jump for this movie.
It is a weird time jump, especially for like what's Michael Myers doing? In 4 years. I hope they explain it. I hope it's not a thing where it's just like
Michael Myers went missing.
Right, exactly.
He's just a 7-year-old man that went missing. Has been doing push-ups outside for 4 years, getting ready,
just biding his time, waiting for
yeah,
for Laurie Strode to.
Damn, I already don't like the movie.
No, one thing I will say about this year though, my disappointing 5 only has two movies on it, so I haven't been severely disappointed. Like there are movies that sucked, like really bad, but it's not about sucking; it's about disappointment. And there's only 2 movies that actually really disappointed me. So
I got Scream on mine. What do you got on yours?
Scream and Dashcam.
Oh, Dashcam is just bad though, dude.
Yeah, but I love the director before this, right? So my expectations were high. That makes it a disappointment.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah,
I was thinking about that movie today for some reason. Like something popped in. Oh, Semen Demon.
God.
Yeah. Oh, she's the worst.
The worst. Maybe the worst character I've ever seen on film. So
that's a lot.
Yeah, and the fact
even worse than the prison guard in Shawshank Redemption that kills the fucking mouse.
Yep.
Really?
That's in Green Mile, but
Green Mile. There you go. Yeah, that guy's fucking evil.
He's evil, but he didn't get on my nerves like she, and he was a little weasel too. But
he was a little fucking rat.
He also doesn't wet the sponge for the guy with the mouse, right?
Gosh, man,
and he burns up. Shit. Yeah, and that guy's a piece of shit in real life too. So
is he? Was he beat?
No, he married like a super young girl, like a creepily. He's like 50 and married like a 16-year-old or something.
Oh,
something really creepy.
Oh gosh,
just disgusting.
Fucking, is that illegal?
Not in some states, apparently.
Shit. Jesus.
Not if you marry. It's like
I need to rethink that.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Ugh.
Anyway, so next week
end on a downer.
No, because we're gonna end on a good note. So not a good note. Unfortunately, Joe's not with us next week too. He's just working. He's got to pay the mouse. He's going to Disney in like a month and a half, and they don't fucking mess around at Disney World.
Where's my money?
Yeah, exactly. So he's working a lot of overtime. So it's gonna be me and Todd again. And we were supposed to do this week, but then Joe said he might come, and then we decided to do no anyways. But unless you change the plan, I think we're gonna do Dawn of the Dead 2004.
Let's do it.
I'm super psyched about it. I haven't watched it in like 2 years, so
it's been about 2 years for me too. I watch it every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Dawn every year. So
exactly, yeah, yeah. And we've already done Dawn, the original, so I thought let's do the remake. And
we'll talk about original again though.
For sure. I'm sure we'll compare it and stuff like that, and and I'll talk about the fate of that mall because it's all in Canada, and
heck yeah,
it's got an interesting fate. Let me say it that way. So I'm looking forward to it. I really like that movie. Spoiler alert. So, and I remember I saw it 4 times in theaters.
Nice.
And I'll never forget like the first time I saw it, like how just jaw drop I was. So.
I was fucking thrilled because I went into it like this isn't gonna be
right,
good.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm gonna hate this. I'm like, whoa, this fucking movie's great.
Yeah, before the fucking even the title drops, I was like my jaw on the floor, like holy shit, this is awesome.
One of the best cold opens or whatever you want to call it of all time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's watch it now.
Yeah, right.
All right, Dawn 04, next show.
And then we'll do our top of the 80s. So just a reminder to our listeners, we're collecting top 10 lists from the listeners. So just send any of us a DM or any of our pages your top 10 horror movies of the 1980s, where we do an ultimate list. It's 2 weeks away now, so we're getting there. I have one movie left to watch on my 80s list, and then I feel I'm complete for my list. So I'm ready for this.
Yeah, mine's done. If I look at it again, I'm going to change it again. So
yeah,
I'm sleeping.
I just got to watch American Werewolf in London. It's been too long, and I don't feel I can rate it properly based off memory.
I didn't even put that into my fucking list. See?
Yeah, so it's not on my list now, but that my two big decisions, which I'll spoil now, was that because I haven't seen it long enough, and choosing between Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. They hit differently for me, and I respect them both, and I have a one per franchise rule on my list, so we'll see
Steve's a cheater. I was gonna put Friday the 13th 4, Friday the 13th 2. It's like, yeah, but Evil Dead 1 and 2 are completely different movies.
They are
totally. Yeah,
but they hit. Yeah, that's right. But I think they're both great, but they hit for different reasons. Anyway, we'll discuss that.
Yep. 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, whatever it is.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for listening.
And don't forget the interview with the director and 2 stars of Slapface. And check out Slapface. It's a really good movie. Definitely worth watching and has a chance of making your 2022 list if you do. So, and you get to listen to Joe on this episode. So you'll get a little bit of your taste of Joe for the week. Yeah. Your cup of Joe.
All right, bye.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast, where today we are joined by 3 very special guests. Their new movie, Slapface, is now available on VOD, digital HD, and DVD for your viewing pleasure, or you can also check it out over on Shudder if you are a subscriber. Please welcome the writer-director Jeremiah Kip and actors Mike Manning and August Maturo. Gentlemen, it is a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today. How y'all doing?
I'm great, Joe. Evidence all at the same time.
Yeah, right. Awesome. So my first question is going to be for Jeremiah. Why don't you start by telling our listeners about Slapface, what it's about, and where you came up with the idea for it?
Sure. Slapface is about a little boy named Lucas who's growing up in the remote woods with his older brother Tom. They've lost both of their parents. And the game of Slapface is a game that they play together, which is whenever Lucas is getting into trouble, Tom plays a game that he learned from his father, which is, I will slap you and you will slap me back. And we will do this ritualistically over and over again, because when you do terrible things, it doesn't just hurt it hurts me too. So that's the game of Slapface. This was actually created in real life by my grandfather and his father. I grew up with my grandparents in the woods of Rhode Island, and my grandfather would tell me stories of his childhood, and those involved some of this system of abuse called Slapface. And the other part that I stole from my grandfather's life was that he was indeed pursued through the woods by 3 female bullies who would throw rocks at him, but one would always circle back around and say, you're my secret boyfriend, kiss me, but don't tell anyone, otherwise we'll beat you twice as hard, because of social currency. Now, my grandfather did not meet a 10-foot tall witch in the woods or a monster. That part comes from my grandparents are extremely lenient about my viewing habits as a child, and I would often watch horror films. So I would watch Dawn of the Dead and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Videodrome and The Brood and movies like that. And I really loved them and I really embraced them. And I made no separation between those horror films and Grimm's fairy tales, where there would be a gingerbread witch. Now, if you took the idea of horror films or the gingerbread witch and put them in counterpoint with this system of child abuse, I thought it created an interesting dialogue between what scares us and what is monstrous. And that was the genesis of Slapface, the contrast between what we imagine to be the monster, the gingerbread witch, or whatever that creature may be, and the real life horrors that are inflicted upon us by bullies or through trauma or through abuse.
Yeah. So Mike and August, this next one's for you. What was your reaction after reading this script, and how was your experience getting cast for these roles?
My reaction was well, originally, so Jeremiah had written the script, and then he had shot a short film as sort of a proof of concept. And when I watched both the short film and read the script, it was a father-son story. And I had reached out to Jeremiah and I said, Jeremiah, I love this. How do you feel about making it a brother story? And I sort of gave my reasons. I said, with the tragedy and with, what if this brother is trying to do the best he can? And Jeremiah was like, okay, let me think about it. And he came back, and what he did, the changes he made to the script were just fantastic. And I think it layered, it added so much more complexity and tragedy, because we've seen the sort of deadbeat dad before, but if you have that sort of deadbeat dad archetype, that personality, that character, but being fulfilled by an older brother who was thrust into being a parent before he was ready, who is genuinely trying to be a good older brother and thinks he's doing the right thing in these acts of abuse, it adds, more tragedy and complexity. And so, Jeremiah, I read the script and then I was like, okay, I have to do this movie. And I I produced the movie. So I found the rest of the cast, and it was very much a partnership with Jeremiah in, I raised the money, and then he brought the crew in that he had worked with on many other projects. And then we, reached out to August Maturo and Libe Barrere and all the other actors that you see in the movie. So it was usually as an actor, you're waiting by the phone for permission to be a part of somebody else's story, a part of somebody else's dream. With this one, I think Jeremiah and I sort of built the house from the ground up together, which makes the movie all the more special to me.
Yeah. Awesome.
When I first read the script, it was already a brother story. But I was informed that there was a short film after I read the script, and I watched that, and that was a father and son dynamic. But I really love how it's two brothers, because as Mike said, it brings a lot more complexity to the characters, and it made this movie really special. And I remember after reading the script, I remember thinking, like, this is not just a horror film. This is drama, this is thriller, this is everything. This is everything combined, and I think that's what makes this movie truly special.
No, definitely. And Jeremiah, I mean, I'm a sucker for witches and witch movies in general, and I really enjoyed the approach to the witch design in this movie. Did you go through many design ideas, or was this kind of always the vision you had for the witch design in your mind?
Yeah, it was. If you imagine a creature like Frankenstein's monster, which has the mass and the scale, and then put the gingerbread witch's head on top of that, it creates a very dysmorphic effect. So it was taking cues from fairy tales, but it was also like taking cues from like monster stories. So like a witch monster was something that we felt very strongly about. Now, many people contributed to this creature. Our wardrobe designer, Anna Davis, created this long cowl and robe that was made in many ways like the bark of a tree. So it's a woodland creature. And then the actor, Lucas Hassel, who embodied the role so powerfully, was like, what if there were a bunch of toys and trinkets on the monster's belt to suggest a relationship with children? And then, of course, working with the special effects department, we created this gnarled, wood textured, gingerbread creature with the hook nose. And it's like, what would happen if you took that creature and treated it as a full character with wants and desires and needs, not as a prop, not as something that's just intended to jump out and scare you, but as something that could have a relationship with the little boy, in much the same way that in the Disney film, The Fox and the Hound are incompatible, but forming a relationship. So those were the ideas behind the creation of the monster. And the other thing that makes the monster come to life, of course, is August Maturo's performance, because it's acting is reacting. And Lucas Hassel, who created the monster, benefits equally from August Maturo treating the monster with full sincerity. So everyone came together to make this the monster that you saw and heard.
Awesome. And for Mike and August, what was your reaction the first time seeing that witch design Was it a surprise, or did you kind of see it off camera, or was it on camera the first time you were able to see it?
Augie?
So I remember watching the short film, and the witch looked pretty different from the movie design. And I have to say, I like the movie design more because it feels more like a character and less like a prop, like what Jeremiah was saying, and it brings so much character to the witch, which usually with fairy tales and all this make believe, there's not really a character to stuff like witches or demons, and I think that's what also makes this movie very unique. And I think Lucas Hassel, the guy who played the monster, did that very well. And I think it also helps with interpretation for who the monster is, because now that there's a personality, there's a character to the witch, people will wonder like, who's the monster, and I feel like there's so many different interpretations. There's not one clear answer, and I think that's how it is with life too. There's not one clear answer to where this monster is coming from, and it makes the movie feel so much more real and relatable.
I'll be honest with you, I was the most nervous about the visualization of the monster. So for Jeremiah, like we were in sync with every creative decision along the way, apart from, and it wasn't that I wasn't in sync with this, I was just nervous when he suggested that a 6'5" male actor that he had worked with before, named Lucas Hassel, would be this witch creature. And I was like, are you sure? And throughout the entire process of creating the witch and working with, special effects and makeup and everything. And then I remember being on set the first time and standing behind the monitor, just praying that this monster would be convincing. And what we got exceeded all of my expectations. I think, Lucas Hassel brings so much depth just with the movements and just with without words. He brings so much life to this witch creature. And I'm so glad that, it turned out that way, because originally I was visualizing something very different. And I'm so glad that, that Jeremiah sort of stuck to his guns and said, this is our guy. This is our witch. Because I think it's such an important part of the movie.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, I could talk to you guys about this movie for hours, because I really loved this movie, but I'm running out of time. So let me leave this with one more question here for all three of you. Of course, horror movies have always been a great conduit when dealing with heavy topics, which this movie, of course, touches on quite a lot of serious issues and topics. So what is your main hope that the audience will take from this movie after watching it?
Like, I mean, I'll jump, because I have a very
Sure.
simple answer for this. I think, this movie, in the end, you don't really know if it is up to the audience to decide if the monster was real, or if it was just if it's actually there, or if it's all in the head of our Lucas, the little boy. And I think either way, this movie, it's not a feel good movie, but it's a feel something movie. And I think it serves as a reminder that everybody has something going on below the surface that we don't know about, as regardless of how close we are to them. And so I feel like this movie, to me, I hope that audiences walk away just keeping that in mind and remembering that everybody is going through some type of grief or trauma or something, and to just be there for them, and be an ear when they need somebody to talk to.
Yeah, it's the Flintstone vitamin theory in a way. It's like children don't want to take a vitamin. But if it looks like Fred Flintstone, then of course I will, because it's a cartoon character. And it's something that I've always embraced about the horror genre, is the ability to use the monster as metaphor for something else. So if you come for the monster and stay for the scares and enjoy the horror and the thriller aspects of the movie, the journey that the audience goes on is one of gradual discovery of the inner lives of these characters and the emotion between the abuser and the abused. And ultimately, what's been deeply rewarding about sharing this film with audiences is that they go to a place they did not expect to go from the poster or from what they anticipated a boy in his monster movie would be. So when we were hearing from film festivals that audiences were leaving the movie shaken and in tears and having a cathartic, moving experience, that spoke to me deeply. And I'm deeply grateful that they embraced the film in the spirit in which it was made.
Awesome. August, I'll give you the last word.
I love that this movie is, even though it's all, it seems like a fantasy, like what Jeremiah said, the poster doesn't explain everything that is present in the movie. So I love that people can walk in thinking that they're going to see something and seeing something completely different, and hearing all the reviews about people saying like, I'm not a horror fan, but I watched this and I loved it. And I think it's just amazing how it was all so scripted perfectly that not only horror fans and thriller fans and drama fans can watch this and be happy, but people who are new to the genres too, and they can also enjoy it because it's not too gory. There is gore, not too gory though, and there's a whole bunch of deeper meanings to everything in the movie. And I feel like there wasn't a clear one victim, because in a sense all the characters are a victim of something. And that's what I think it makes this movie so unique and special.
No, absolutely. And gentlemen, that is about it, but that's a great way to wrap it up. So I thank you so much, and everyone make sure you go and check out Slapface, now available on pretty much any format. So go and check it out. See you guys.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks so much.
Joe.